Coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor. This is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
Good evening, I'm Sanjay Maru and you are watching MediaPlex News Now. Wrestling enthusiasts gathered at the St. Clair College Sportsplex for a sold-out show put on by Border City Wrestling. The event also gave students in the Entertainment Technology program the chance to put their skills to the test by running sound, lights, and pyrotechnics for the show. Katie Panasic was there.
St. Clair College hosted the Border City Wrestling event at the Sportsplex building on Saturday night. With hundreds of people coming to witness the live performance, founders like Chuck Fader were pleased to see the crowd enjoying a special event for Windsorites.
The original founder of BCW, 1993, myself, Scott Demore, and Doug Chevalier. We lost our partner, he passed, and that's what this show is for. We do the excellent show every November in his memory.
With big names like Rey Mysterio from WWE performing at the event with his signature move, 619, it was easy to see why the fans were overwhelmed with excitement. Wrestling enthusiasts who follow BCW were very impressed with the night.
This is the ground roots where you kind of get into why people love wrestling, and this was top-notch.
With large numbers in attendance, St. Clair production manager was thrilled at the result of this wrestling event.
Success, over 1,000 people in attendance, so that's certainly the largest number that we've ever had. Great turnout, great production, the students had a great time. I think they'll be really happy with the end result. The audience seemed to be really happy with the end result, so great success overall.
From MediaPlex News, I'm Katie Panasic.
It's time for a look at the current conditions. Let's head outside to hear from our weather specialist, Ladan Mohamed. Ladan?
Hey Sanjay, right now it's 19 degrees Celsius with southwesterly winds coming in at 24 kilometers per hour. The temperature has gone up since this morning, and we can expect temperatures to drop to 14 degrees Celsius as the evening progresses. Your 3-day weather forecast coming up later in the show. Back to you, Sanjay.
A local photographer is raising money for families in need through photography and modeling workshops. Katie Panasic has more.
One photographer is helping a family in desperate need by turning his photography workshop into a community fundraiser.
The very first model I ever worked with, Bella, her brother has childhood cancer, and when she told me about that, I'm a big childhood cancer supporter, and I said what better way than to have an event for him.
Sarah Gatto said it has been a long journey with her son's rare cancer.
Okay, so back in February of 2014, my son Andrew was diagnosed with alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma stage 4, and he had a reoccurrence. Well, it was officially diagnosed January of 2017. I get overwhelmed very quickly, and the thought of people wanting to help us, people that I don't know, usually when it comes from the community of people that I've never met or maybe have a slight acquaintance with, it's very humbling. One thing I did have to learn in both journeys was to accept help when it comes and in whatever form it comes in, and whoever wants to give it.
Photographers and models alike raised $700 for the Gatto family. One photographer expressed his happiness in helping a member of the photo community.
You know, I actually have become immersed in the photo community of Windsor, and I guess when one of them is in need, I'm happy to lend a hand. It actually means something more to me other than just an anonymous cancer patient. So it's helping out one of our own, more so than just someone that you don't know.
From MediaPlex News Now, I'm Katie Panasic.
When someone gets hurt, the community comes together. Hundreds of people walked with Mayor Drew Dilkins along the Ganaccio Trail this weekend. The mayor organized the walk to stress the safety of Windsor trails and pathways after a brutal attack took place on a 75-year-old woman. She remains unconscious after she was beaten in a random assault on October 8th. The mayor said this was an unprovoked attack which could have happened anywhere.
This was a random, unprovoked attack that could have happened, frankly, anywhere in the city, and so the fact that it happened here It puts a spotlight on the Ganacho Trail, but the Ganacho Trail, this whole area is still safe. And you'll see police presence here like you would, the auxiliary patrol this area. You'll see, increased police presence in the area, but this could have happened anywhere in the city. Unfortunately, it happened here. Unfortunately, it happened to this woman who's fighting through, and the police will continue to respond, as appropriate.
Juliana Bonnet sat down with local photographer Carrie Ouellette to talk about her passion and business in photography in this edition of 3 Minutes With.
Hi, my name is Juliana Bonnet, and this is 3 Minutes with Carrie Ouellette. Carrie Ouellette is the owner of Carrie J Photography, a photography business that opened in Windsor in 2013. So Carrie, when did you start getting into photography?
I started when I was little, and I used my dad's Voigtlander camera. Also used a lot of Polaroids when I was little, and then I went to school for graphic design, and there was a little dabble of photography in there, and that just kind of took off from there.
And what kind of photography would you say you specialize in?
I specialize in weddings, engagements, and family sessions. So anything that basically goes around the family dynamic and emotional dynamic.
And have you always lived in the Windsor area and done business here, or have you done elsewhere?
I started in Windsor, and then me and my husband, we moved to Toronto for 4 years, and I started branching out into Toronto, and then we just moved back to Windsor. So
that's great.
Yeah.
And so you said that you did go to school for photography.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how did you feel that course helped you in benefiting your career?
It was good. It was just like a couple courses, like about basic photography, but after that you can just kind of explore on your own, and that's when all the good stuff starts
That's
coming
great. And
out.
did you go to photography here?
Yeah, I went to St. Clair College.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I took graphic design, and there's a little bit of photography in there.
Okay, and so why is capturing a photograph so important to you?
I think it's about capturing a moment in time, and when people look back on that photograph, you're just instantly brought back, and it's all that emotion, and you can feel everything again, and it's just important to capture everything.
Right, and so do you use social media to promote the business?
I do. I'm fairly active. I use Facebook for my business, and I also use Instagram a lot. So I always at least try and post once a day, and it's also good to just keep everybody informed about what I'm doing, where I'm going, and everything.
Is there any photographers that have inspired you in your career?
Of course, there's Annie Leibovitz. Like, she's just like...
Oh, yeah.
You look at her pictures, you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. But yeah, that's probably my number one.
Probably your number one, yeah. And what advice can you give to up-and-coming photographers?
I would say just have conviction, trust your style and yourself, and don't be afraid to fail, because you probably will, or you might not, but don't be afraid to fail, because all the good stuff will come after that point.
And do you have any advice for any local businesses trying to build up in Windsor?
Just keep at it. Yeah, Windsor, I feel, is like on the cusp of something great, and allowing people to express themselves creatively is ultimately going to only good things will come from that.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem.
Carrie. I'm Juliana Bonnet. It's been 3 Minutes with Carrie Ouellette.
26,000 runners from Windsor and Detroit battled strong winds to make it to the finish line. This weekend, the 40th annual Detroit Free Press Marathon closed the bridge and the tunnel to allow runners to complete a 26.2-kilometer journey. Participants ran across the Ambassador Bridge into Windsor and back through the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel.
To see the sunrise while you're crossing the bridge is amazing. And going through the tunnel, there's a bunch of people waiting for you on the other side. They're cheering for you when you come out. It's a great feeling.
Runners were encouraged along the way by more than 3,000 volunteers and warm-hearted strangers. Every year, the marathon partners with more than 40 official charities, and registration money is used to support local charitable organizations centered on health and wellness. Harvesting the Fan Festival takes place all of October at venues and spaces throughout the downtown core of Windsor. Fan Festival acts as a collective call to inform the people of Windsor that creativity lives here. Miller Hill interviewed the creative director of FanFest for more details.
Hi, I'm Miller Hill, and I'm here with Murad Erzinchlioglu, the creative director for Harvesting the Fan Festival. Thanks for joining me today, Murad.
Thanks for having me.
So, to begin, I would like to know what exactly is Harvesting the Fan Festival. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Harvesting the Fan Festival is a film, art, and music series. It involves fashion as well. It's really a multifaceted arts festival that happens every October here throughout Windsor.
Okay. And how many years has this been running for you guys?
We did our first festival January 2007, and our second festival in September 2007, and it's happened annually every fall. So this is our 12th festival.
And how have they been every year? Do you find that it becomes more successful each year as they go on?
I always looked at the FAM Festival as kind of an ongoing experiment, and success is kind of you gauge it differently. But I'd say over the years, it's changed and it's morphed and it's developed to better serve the needs of the artists and arts community.
Okay. Now, I assume that you guys get a lot of applicants for this. What is like the process of choosing the applicants for the festival?
Well, some years it's a lot more involved. Some years it's scaled back considerably. This year is a year that we more curated a festival. We opened up to applicants just to email us if they were interested in participating, and then went through that list along with a long list of past contributors and kind of picked and choose some of the people we saw, being the most active in the community over the last year or so.
And how do you decide what events that you want to run for the festival?
Well, we always try to make sure that we have a diversity of events. We want to be representative of all the different artists who are here in the community. So this year we're a little less film intensive, but we're a little more fashion intensive. We want to just make sure that we're covering a broad range of the different types of art that are created here in the community. So we want to definitely have a gallery show. We definitely want to have a few music showcases, which we've had already, and have a few more coming up throughout the month. We want to feature fashion and all the different types of art, or as many different types of art as we can.
A downtown fitness center that opened in the summer is collaborating with the Downtown Mission for a charity event coming up this Friday. Reporter Sarita Varanasi has the story.
For the owner of True Fitness, it is the perfect marriage between physical health and charity. Luis Mendez has created a charity team challenge that will be held October 19th. Teams of 4 will raise pledges for the Downtown Mission.
We wanted to do an event in the downtown area that was going to raise awareness towards the issue that we're having with higher levels of homelessness and just individuals needing those extra resources for food and shelter.
True Fitness opened its downtown location this summer and made a decision right away to support the community that supports it. The teams will go through a series of fitness tests, get hands-on personal training, and have other fun wellness activities throughout the day. The Downtown Mission's Jim Douglas says the funds are really needed.
Their gift is going to help in a lot of different ways, whether it's to help feed people, whether to provide counseling for people with their, if they have drug or alcohol issues, or to help shelter people.
The mission calls people like Donald Bell one of their guests. He appreciates everything he gets from the mission and from his community, including those who take part in the Charity Team Challenge.
Oh, it means the world of, it means they have the biggest heart that I know of. Can't get any bigger than this, really.
True Fitness hopes to raise $5,000 to $7,000 this year. For MediaPlex News, I'm Sarita Varanasi.
Let's head back to the streets where Ladan is standing by with a look at this week's weather forecast. Ladan?
Hey Sanjay, check this out. Did you know that the lowest temperature ever recorded in Canada was 63 degrees Celsius on February 3rd, 1947 in a village in the Yukon? Well, you don't have to worry about that here in Windsor because we have a stretch of great sunny days headed our way with a 20 degrees Celsius forecasted for the next 3 days. Enjoy all this autumn splendor while you can. That's it for me from the corner of University and Victoria. Back to you, Sanjay.
It's time to get creative. At the Art Gallery of Windsor, you're invited to stop by for Sundays in the Studio to take part in hands-on workshops. Participants are welcome to get creative with in-house artists. For October, local artist Christina Brandt is leading 4 workshops free with gallery admission.
I'm here to help facilitate creative projects for people of any age to come in and get their creative fix for the weekend.
Former City Councilor Tom Wilson stopped by the studio to talk with John Perry Goodson in this edition of 3 Minutes With.
Hello, my name is John Perry Goodson. I'm joined here today with Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson is a former City Council member and a teacher. So Tom, can you tell me the role of a City Council member?
The role of City Council is to basically help run the City of Windsor. We'll set the policies, and administration will follow the guidelines that we've set down. My ward, which was Ward 5 at back in the 80s and 90s, consisted of about 40,000 people. And even though the city was 200,000 plus, my responsibility, I felt, were to the citizens of Ward 5. And a lot of the things that we did out in Ward 5 are still there today, and I've been retired from politics 11 years now.
What were some of the challenges you faced?
Ooh, one of the biggest challenges was my first year on council when we had Lake St. Clair flooding. And administration came to us and said, we need to build a berm. So we agreed. You got to stop the water from going into the lower sections of Riverside. And they built the berm on the south side of Riverside Drive. My concern was that we had all of these very expensive homes on the north side right by the lake. And I felt that the berm should have been built along the lakeside. Unfortunately, administration said, no, we don't have time. The next afternoon, we had a meeting with the residents of Ward 5, and we got their approval to go on their land and build a berm. So we built a berm all the way from the parent drain, which separates the town of Tecumseh from the city of Windsor, and we went all the way down to Little River. And that held back all of the water from destroying the homes along the drive, from destroying the infrastructure of the sewers, the lighting, the hydro system, and the road itself.
All right, thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you.
I am John Perry Goodson, and this has been 3 Minutes with Tom Wilson.
The Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation recently partnered with Sun Life Financial to put on a stationary cycling event raising money for a cure for type 1 diabetes. March Wren was there to get the story.
It was a great day for bike ride in Windsor, Essex County. The 6th annual Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation Revolution Ride to benefit type 1 diabetes hit the street at Central Park Athletic on Friday. 5 teams participate in the bike ride to raise funds to defeat the disease. Bryson Reno is the JDRF Revolution Ride ambassador in Windsor. The 10-year-old was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 2.
People like you who support events like this, support JDRF, support those with living type 1 diabetes that I know one day will find a cure. Thank you.
Bryson's parents first volunteered at the JDRF event last year. They're proud of their son in his ambassador role.
I just want everybody that's living with type 1 diabetes, young or old, knowing that it doesn't matter. You can do anything you want to do. And like my son said in his speech, he has type 1 diabetes. It does not have him. So it just wants everybody to know that you can do anything you want.
The JDRF event raised $13,600 for type 1 diabetes, but they still seek to reach their goals of $28,000 through another ride in November. Organizer Nico Kodat is confident they will be successful.
Our mission, our focus is to find a cure, of course, for type 1 diabetes, and we also are really invested in better technologies.
The JDRF ride is not only a fundraising event, but also a good physical activities for the body. The JDRF will continue to host community events in hope to find a cure to beat the disease. For MediaPlex News, I'm Mark Shen.
Pop Inc. Hair Gallery and Tattoo Parlor celebrates their anniversary with a unique fashion show every year to show off their stylists' and artists' work on the runway. Katie Panasic brings us the details.
Artistic flair came to Ottawa Street as the 5th annual Popaganda show took place with this year's theme, Chaos.
What we're doing here tonight at Pop Hair Gallery Inc. is we're celebrating our anniversary by hosting Popaganda. What we do is we like to bridge the gap between industry and art by doing a fashion show as well.
People came early for gift bags and to get a good spot for the show. However, the pre-show included a live stream of the event as one of the subjects in the center was being tattooed by 4 artists for the guest viewing pleasure.
They're all so talented, and this whole thing is just amazing. Everything that they do is amazing. We're not in Windsor when I'm in the salon.
With the studio full of people, it was loud with excitement as the audience waited for the show to start. The night carried on with a fashion show built around the creativity of the hairstylists of pop, showing off their unique styles. From MediaPlex News Now, I'm Katie Panasic.
Every week at the MediaPlex, we bring you local, national, and international updates in the world of sports. Kyle Rose and Cody Rusan join us live in the studio for Sports Talk. Gentlemen?
Thanks, Sanjay. I'm Cody Rusan.
And I'm Kyle Rose. Welcome to your Plex Sports Update.
Well, Kyle, it's October 17th. We're midway through October. Tell us what's going on with St. Clair Sports.
Definitely. Well, 2 things to start. We had some exhibition basketball action last night at the Sportsplex as our women took on the visiting Transylvania Trans basketball team, who are from Kentucky, by the way. But our women, they handled their business. They did what they needed to do. They beat them with a score of 55-53. Now, tonight, our men will play the visiting Oberlin College from Michigan, and the tip-off time for that is 6 p.m. But, you know, the biggest news coming out of St. Clair Sports is this weekend, OCAA baseball tournament happening from October 20th to 22nd at LaCasse Park in Tecumseh. Your hometown St. Clair Saints will be hosting in what is sure to be an amazing weekend of baseball action. So be sure to go out there and support them as they go for the gold. But speaking of baseball, talk to us about the major leagues.
Well, the major leagues, we got the postseason, both respected American League, the National League series they're going on right now. The Houston Astros, they got the New York Yankees. The Astros are up on them 2-1 right now. They're playing right now. The game is tied at 0. It's still early on, so not much else to expect. Yeah. But in the NL, we have the Chicago Cubs and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers are up 2-0 against the Cubs right now, but the Cubs are no stranger to being the underdog. Yeah. I mean, look at last year. In the World Series, the Cleveland Indians had them down 3-1, but the Cubs would come back, overcome, end that 108-year drought. And you know what? I'm sure producer Alyssa loves that little reminder. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we'll see if the Cubs can climb out or if they're going to have an early exit from the playoffs. Who knows? But pitch for that game is 9:08 p.m. tonight.
Well, definitely some tight action in MLB. But I just want to touch on something we spoke about earlier. Border City Wrestling came to Sportsplex and I have some photos. Yep, you were there. You were having a good time. Look at you. This is you and A1. You and Rosemary were there, and you know, you had like an excellent time. Tell us about your experience there.
It was a lot of fun. Obviously, you know, the energy in there was so great and spectacular that it just made for a great show all around. How did you feel about it?
It was excellent, and Jeff Scott, we thank you so much for doing the interview with us. It was an amazing experience. Again, you look like you had a lot of fun. I'm sure I did. And, you know, unfortunately, we're out of time, but Sanjay, back to you.
Speaking of Border City Wrestling, I had the unique opportunity to speak with Aiden Prince both before and after his match with WWE United Kingdom champion Pete Dunne. Here's a short snippet of what he had to say before the match.
Is there anything about his style that excites you, that matches up well with his style, where you guys know you guys can put on an absolutely fantastic match?
For me, it's honestly, obviously I'm one of the bigger cruiserweights here in Border City, so Pete Dunne calls himself the bruiserweight, so he is probably the perfect opponent for me, being the cruiserweight of BCW. He's the bruiserweight. I mean, it's going to go hand in hand. It's definitely his style being, you know, from the UK and that type of stuff. Obviously, a huge fan of that style of wrestling. So I think that the styles are going to mesh. People are going to. It's going to be amazing for sure.
When you were a kid growing up watching wrestling, did you ever envision this for yourself? Facing not just a WWE superstar, but a current champion.
Oh man!
All eyes are on you this Saturday.
I know it's nuts. Like I'm still speechless about it. To be honest, I mean, for me, obviously, I dreamed and dreamed and dreamed as a kid. You know, especially with my little toy belts and stuff at home. You know, you dream about moments like this, and I mean, the fact that it's here, it's happening. It still doesn't feel real, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's wild.
And now let's take you back to late Saturday night. I spoke to Prince again just hours after the conclusion of his match.
Aiden, first question, how are you feeling? Any injuries coming out of the match?
I'm a little beat up, a little sore, but I think adrenaline's getting me through things right now, buddy. I feel great.
And what is some of the feedback you've received on the match? In my opinion, you stole the show. I knew you would have stolen the show before the night even concluded. What has the feedback been like from fans?
Absolutely amazing, man. The amount of people coming up and, you know, like just in the back and everything, man. I have so much support right now. Like, I'm so grateful, man. So grateful.
When we spoke a few days ago before the match, you had said this was like a dream come true. Did it live up to the dream expectation that you had?
It's funny, if you watch the beginning of the match, I'm standing in the ring and like I'm literally in a daze, you know what I mean? Just kind of like, this is where I am now. Like, this guy is coming toward, like, just the whole thing, man. It was like I lived a dream tonight, and I can't say it enough how grateful I am. I mean, just literally dream come true, man.
When you were backstage, did Pete Dunne say anything to you about the match?
He did, man. He really did, and I can honestly say, you know, if he's watching anything like that, I'm super, one, thankful for the match, but two, thankful for all the advice he did give me moving forward. And I mean, like he said, and I feel now, you know, it's just the beginning. You know, what I do with this, you know, we'll see what happens, but the feedback has been great. Yeah.
And where do you see that future going? Now that you've been in the ring with a WWE champion, you know you can hang now. There's no question about it. Pete Dunne's one of the best performers in the WWE, and you put on the best match of the night, clearly. Where do you see your career going?
For me, like, it's crazy, man. Even doing things like this, you know what I mean? This is a dream come true for me, talking to somebody and, you know, in front of a camera and everything that goes into it. So, I mean, for me, it was just that, like you said, you know, I can hang now. I know I can do it. So it's a matter of, you know, taking this to the next level. More interviews with people like yourself, bigger things in the ring, bigger opponents. Evan Bourne used to say this: I wanted to get better so I could wrestle better people. And that was something that always stuck with me, and it's, you know, tonight I hung with Pete Dunne, man, so it's like goosebumps again, buddy. So it's like the fact that I could hang with that, then, you know, give me what's next, man. I'm ready for what's next.
There are some projects on the go in Windsor for cyclists in the city. Grace Bauer has more on the story.
Windsor is becoming a more bike-accessible city, one lane at a time, which affects many residents who rely solely on bikes to get around. In 2013 and 2014, Council set an advanced capital funding of $6.8 million for biking infrastructure. There are many projects in the works, some of which include the widening of paved shoulders on roads such as Cabana and Walker. Jordan Legg is a Windsor local who has never owned a car and uses his bike for daily commute.
My favorite things about being a cyclist in Windsor is it's very easy to cut across the city in ways that a car can't. And don't have to obey traffic lights because there are no traffic lights in those areas, right?
If anyone is interested in seeing where new biking trails are popping up, you can view a map on the City of Windsor's website at www.citywindsor.ca. The maps are also available at any public library or community center in Windsor. For MediaPlex News, I'm Grace Bauer.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Sanjay Maru, and you have been watching MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.